We take it for granted that plants grow beneath our feet. But what about plants that grow over our heads? I'm talking about plants that grow on a roof, a green roof. When it comes to sustainability, roofs are vast wastelands just awaiting magical transformation into habitat for birds and insects, into green spaces for playing, for strolling, even urban vegetable gardens. Green roofs absorb heat rather than radiate it, so they reduce the heat island effect. Indoors, green roofs moderate temperatures so buildings don't require as much heating or as much cooling. And surprisingly, a green roof has twice the lifespan of a traditional roof. Green roofs have so much to offer that they've become the object of interest for architects and planners and builders and even horticulturists. I'm at the San Diego Botanic Garden, where the Seeds of Wonder Children's Garden has some of my favorite green roofs. They're so whimsical. Julian Duval is executive director of the San Diego Botanic Garden. He showed me one of the first green roofs built in San Diego County. Julian, is this the only green roof you have?
No, actually, this is the first one we've done, but I'm proud to say that every building we've done since this one 10 years ago now has a green roof on it. We've kind of made it our goal to say that if we're going to build something here, let's make sure that we put a green roof on it, because there's all these really important, sustainability issues that come along with doing that.
What are the ones that you see?
Well, one of the most important ones, I think, for us, we're right against the Pacific Ocean here, and here in Encinitas, Moonlight Beach is probably the only thing more popular, in fact, than the garden here in this community, which we're very proud of. But when you go down to that beach so often in the summertime, you see these signs that are posted in the sand that says the bacterial levels in the water are at such a level that it's unsafe to go into. Well, the reason for that is the fact that we, in our urbanization of everything, we've covered over so much of the land with hard surfaces, and roofs end up making a large portion of that. Well, if you can plant a roof, you've got a sponge up there. If there was more planted roofs or planted areas, there was more place for the water to be held and released more gradually, there'd be more time for the interaction that soils and plants have with those things to use up some of those nutrients and maybe neutralize some of the pollutants.
We're talking about green roofs sprouting up all over San Diego. It's a lofty idea whose time has come today on A Growing Passion. In the 30 years since the last hospital was built in Escondido, California, our understanding of the healing process has evolved dramatically. The new Palomar Medical Center has a green roof that helps staff perform and patients heal.
The design of this hospital, the hospital of the future, was to merge technology and nature, to give us an opportunity to create healing environments. And the green roof is something that supports us as far as a meditative area for staff when they're in our cafe dining area, as well as from all the patient floors. We brought natural light and views of nature into areas that aren't for patients and visitors, that are simply for staff. And so we believe that they will be more productive and efficient workers, they'll be healthier and happier at work, and we'll be able to provide better health care for all of our patients.
This rolling rooftop is sculpted to emulate the surrounding hillsides. The plants meld into nature. It's hard for me to remember I'm standing 3 floors off the ground. Andrew Spurlock, principal of San Diego Spurlock Poirier Landscape Architects, designed this green roof. It's the largest in Southern California.
Putting a green roof on top of the hospital was an experiment for us, as well as an important experiment in Southern California. This is almost 2 acres of green roof. A natural or native plant green roof had not been built at that size before. The idea or the intent was behind the rolling topography on the green roof or the rooftop that we were creating a foreground landscape for the hills in the background, the Escondido Hills, that replaced a view of a roof. We're on top of the roof of the diagnostic and testing facility of the hospital. Because this site was a heavily graded hilltop, we thought this could be an important habitat connection between the Elfin Forest Preserve, the Escondido Creek watershed, and the San Marcos Creek watershed. because this had been a natural hillside up until about 10 years ago. And that makes it a healing environment for the site itself, healing environment for the staff who work here, who can come out and use this landscape area as part of their lunchtime break or a break from working in the hospital, and for the patients and for their families.
So I see our native Cleveland sage.
Yep, there's the idea is that everything is native.
Oh wait, look, I see there's the really hot pink yarrow, and then there's the white yarrow, and then in between, so you've got a little bit of everything. All right, this is not a plant.
No, this is not a plant. The architect we work with, who's Dennis McFadden at Co-Architects, was the guy who was really going for the idea of light.
Yes, which is
and
brilliant.
Bringing light through the roof, creating these penetrations with these light wells, provides a sense of orientation for people below too, because when you're on the two levels of the testing facility below the roof, you come upon these gardens that are in the light wells, and that lets you know where you are.
So it sounds to me like the goal was intimacy, natural environment, home, feeling like home, like your home.
Yeah, a home-like environment, but an exposure, but seeing nature as part of your daily activities, whether you're working here or whether you're staying here or visiting.
Some of these plants were planted just like you would do for a garden in the ground. The rest were hydroseeded. The seed was mixed with water and fertilizer and a kind of papery, pulpy mulch that acts as a stabilizer. The result is this thick, lush carpet of plants that are thriving, even though they've been in the ground just a little more than a year and a half.
Yes, it costs more. It costs more to build green roofs and to build interior garden spaces, but our project was a part of the Center for Health Design and was backed up by evidence-based design to show us that creating healing spaces for staff and for patients provides better health outcomes and reduced medical errors.
While green roofs cost more than traditional roofs, their long-term benefits and their ability to help people heal far outweigh their costs. Vince and Lisa Corrali built the home of their dreams on an ocean view lot in Del Mar, California. The patio deck on the upper floor is the perfect place to relax and watch the sun go down.
Initially, when we had spec'd the house, we had thought about a standing seam metal roof here in this area. And we kind of backed off on that idea. Our architect actually suggested maybe there's a possibility to put a green roof here. And so we thought about it for a while.
We don't see a lot of residential green roofs in San Diego, and so it was an interesting idea, and we were willing to try it if everybody was willing to go along with the ride with us. First of all, we wanted something that was nice to look at. We have a nice view out to the west, and we wanted to enhance the view. And then, of course, having the ability to not have the reflection in the house, to hopefully help with insulative properties. I really like the bright colors of reds and oranges and the idea of the sunset. So that's where that came from. We wanted to have some green in there as well to show that it is a living roof. And so the sedums bring the green as well as some of the reds, and then you'll see some of the succulents that do have the little pops of color.
Greenscape Buildings designed and installed the Corrali's green roof. Owner Jim Mumford explains what homeowners should know if they're considering a green roof for their home. Explain to me the issue of weight and a green roof and how that all works.
Sure, weight is a very important aspect of a green roof. And it's one of the reasons it's hard to do a retrofit in San Diego, because our roofs just don't hold that extra weight. And a green roof will probably add at least 30 pounds per square foot, and that's a lot of weight. Three things I'm looking to do. One is I have to protect the structure, so engineering is critical that we can hold that extra weight. The second thing is the waterproofing. No one wants a roof that leaks, so we're doing everything we can to make sure we're never going to have a leak. And the third thing is the longevity of the plants. So it's the plant variety, it's the soil mix, it's the irrigation, it's all those parts just like a plant anywhere else, but I'm usually growing a very thin layer, and it's harsh up top of a roof. It's windier and sunnier up here than on the ground.
What are the different layers in here?
It's a very, very simple system. This white layer up here, this is called thermoplastic olefin, otherwise known as TPO. It's like a big pond liner. It's what the roofer used as their waterproofing layer. So it's very strong. It's a single ply. On top of that, we need to make sure it drains well. So we've got a drainage layer. You can see there's a very simple little kind of spider web out of plastic.
Oh, that's cool stuff. So there's a lot of airspace in there.
Exactly. And attached to that is a moisture mat. So that helps absorb some moisture and give it back up to the soil as well. Then on top of that, we had a brownie. It's a soil substitute because we had very little extra weight on this roof, and it holds on to nutrients, it holds on to air, holds on to moisture, and really the weight in this is all water.
And then what happens?
Well, then we laid the irrigation lines across.
Oh, my favorite. Right. And so that goes on top of the brownie.
Exactly.
And then?
Then we used seed and mat.
Now, on this roof, you have one of these mats, and then you also planted into these, right?
Yes, we added in some extra succulents, both for color and texture, and help fill in the gaps as well.
So I'm guessing that a year from now, 2 years from now, the copper tone and the senecio, those beautiful orange and blue plants in there, are going to expand, and they'll start to become more of the dominant plants.
Yes.
As opposed to the sedums.
And we'll have some different heights too, so it'll be more interesting to look at.
We got all the layers. How do you hold it all in place?
We use a system called a permalock, and it's basically an L-shaped bracket that sits underneath the weight of the roof to keep it in place, and it's got these great slits in the sides so the whole thing drains very freely.
So I see this is the drain, and then where does that water go?
Down the downspout.
A green roof like this costs $10 to $25 per square foot installed. Now, that might seem expensive, but actually, the green roof extends the life of the roof beneath it by 2 or 3 times, and it insulates the space below.
We haven't had it for quite a full year yet, but during the summer months, we actually had some pretty hot days, and we feel actually that probably the living room has benefited a little from the green roof. We'd noticed that the temperatures weren't exceeding probably 76 degrees in the house with the green roof, whereas before would get a little warmer.
Getting out here and tending to it, it doesn't need a lot of maintenance, but it's a lot of fun just to look to see what's growing up and what's dying back, and watching it evolve.
It's definitely evolved over the year. I mean, since we put it in, it's again, hasn't been quite a year, but we're seeing it change as time goes on.
It's kind of nice that you can see it a little bit from the street, and people come by and they do look and they do wonder what that is, and hopefully others will embrace the idea of green roofs. I think they're a fabulous idea.
A well-designed green roof is a sky-high ecosystem, and it's one of the only parts of a building that actually improves with age. The National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration is the federal agency that monitors our changing environment, from the surface of the sun to the ocean floor. At the Southwest Fisheries Science Center in La Jolla, California, NOAA's researchers focus on sustainable fisheries and marine ecosystems, so it's no surprise that the design of their new building was guided by those same values. The result is a functional, beautiful, and highly efficient building, thanks in part to the structure's 9 green roofs. This is a 7-story building with 300 scientists, their offices and their laboratories, but you'd never know it. The architects designed the building with different angles at different levels, so it doesn't feel bulky. And what's a green plaza at this level is the green roof for the level below. Everywhere you look, there's a spectacular view of the ocean. Laboratory buildings typically use about 5 times the energy of other office buildings. That prompted the architects to dive deep into sustainable construction. Can you describe for me what the concept was behind the design of the building?
Well, primarily the space that we're in right now is the central courtyard, and the building is organized around this as a central place. The building responds kind of formally to its topography, the surrounding context of the hillside which we've nested the building into. And so we wanted to kind of humanize this building in a sense that it's huge, and there are almost 300 people working here at any given time, but we wanted to give it a human scale, and it all starts with these courtyard spaces.
And we're right adjacent to the ocean. Did that influence the design?
Oh, very much so. We realized that if you took a topographical map, that our site actually starts in La Jolla Canyon in the ocean. As you crawl up and out of the water, here we are standing kind of terra firma. With that, we're able to kind of organize the geometry of the building to respond to the topography.
And why did you want green roofs as part of this structure?
Well, this site has never had a building on it. And so we wanted to respect that, even though the fact that we're putting in a large building onto a relatively small site. So we wanted to engage the surrounding kind of vegetation and native species and bring it in and incorporate it into the kind of organization of the building.
So I think that's really interesting. In a way, what you're saying is that the green roofs reflect the surrounding hillsides.
Without a doubt. And we almost wanted to camouflage the fact that we're actually above a parking deck, 3 stories of parking. We wanted to make people think that they're actually on the ground. And so, again, it's a little bit of trickery.
These green roofs are only about 9 inches deep. That's not much room for plants whose roots burrow many feet deep when they grow in soil. The trick is constructing the layers in a way to support plants, then choosing plants that thrive under constrained conditions. Landscape architect Jeffrey Bruce explains. So when I look at this, we see rock on the surface. And if I go down a little bit, it looks like dirt, but that's not dirt.
It's actually engineered soil. It's a sophisticated mix of sand and compost. And really what we're trying to do there is balance 2 opposing objectives, retaining sufficient moisture for the plant to utilize and thrive, but at the same time sort of providing enough internal drainage so that excess water can pass through there and provide air into the system.
So I think it's really amazing that what we're looking at is kind of a patio or a plaza is actually the roof of the level below.
Yeah, the transformation is even amazing for us because we'll come up here before the plants are planted and it looks like a regular building, and the second it's landscaped, it transforms itself into what you would perceive as being on the ground.
Within days of installation, hummingbirds, bees, and other insects started visiting from the surrounding coastal sage scrub. Ryan West of Recon Native Plants advised on plant selection and provided many of the plants. Ryan, when I look at the plants here, I'm amazed. You've got the white sage and the hummingbird sage and the eriogonum and the muhlenbergia, the deer grass, and they're all working in a green roof?
Absolutely. These plants were selected for a shallow fibrous root system that grows horizontally instead of a deep taproot type structure. So they also are shorter in stature so that if a gust of wind comes by, they aren't going to be knocked over because they have a very shallow anchor.
And the grasses just move so beautifully. Who came up with the plant palette?
The plant palette was a collaboration between the architects and us. They brought us onto the team to help select some of the plants here. And I love the Bothria Chloe, which is the blue cane stem, and how it sways in the wind right now. It's just gorgeous.
All the way up there. I know that people had never used these kinds of natives in a green roof before, and you did some prototyping, right?
We built a couple of small prototype beds at the nursery based on the specs that the architect gave us. And those were meant to test the soil type, the rooting depth, and also the irrigation regimen that we were going to give these plants.
So as you look at this, do you feel like this is successful? Is this what you expected?
I am extremely happy with the way this turned out. The first time I came up here, I was shocked, honestly, at how well the plants have established and how well they're surviving here.
It makes you think about the environment and being part of the environment, which is one of the things that, of course, drives us to do the work that we do. It's part of our work, it's part of how we approach our work, and in some ways it reminds us that even in our work we have to be mindful of the environment and the greenness of where we work.
Many of us are seagoing scientists. We spend a lot of time outside, and this building feels natural to us. There are a few barriers between our desks and the environment that we study here. And the building, the design lets in fresh air, natural light, and views of the ocean. And being surrounded by the green roofs and these plants makes us feel as if we're walking outside in the hills around the building. It makes us feel connected to the environment in which we study.
A building with a strong connection to the natural world is perfectly in line with the work that goes on here. A green roof that's beautiful, functional, and in tune with the environment Now that's smart science. We're going up there. You think we'll run into Dorothy and Toto? This tiny cottage looks like it crash-landed on the 7th floor of the Jacobs School of Engineering at the University of California, San Diego. But actually, it's an installation by artist Do-Ho Suh, and it's part of the Stewart collection of artworks scattered across campus.
Nan, let's go on in to Do-Ho's house. Let's see. So you can see what it's like in here.
I can't wait to see it. This is a little disorienting.
Yes, it's quite disorienting. That's what it's supposed to be. Just the way Do-Ho felt when he first came to this country. Displaced, like he'd been dropped from the sky.
Suh cantilevered this 70,000-pound cottage just about 10 degrees off level. The floor is tilted, the walls are tilted, the fireplace is tilted. Everything you would expect to go straight up and down is just slightly off kilter, except the chandelier. It's the only thing that hangs straight up and down thanks to gravity. Other than that, there's not a plumb line in the house. Mary, tell me about Do-Ho Suh. Who is he?
He is a Korean artist who came to this country to go to first the Rhode Island School of Design and then Yale after he graduated from Seoul University. When he arrived in Providence, Rhode Island, he felt like he'd been dropped from the sky. He felt like he was in a completely new world, which of course he was. He has thought a lot about the idea of home.
And so is that what this is all about?
That's what this is all about. And I thought it was a good idea for a campus, you know, where students have left their homes and come here. When they get here, they probably felt, or as freshmen anyway, that they have been dropped from the sky too, you know, into this new world, and they have to get their balance over again. They have to get oriented. They have to figure out, you know, where their classes are, who their friends are.
Mary, we are 7 stories up, and we're in a house. How in the world did this happen?
Well, it happened because it was a dream of the artist.
But physically, how do you do it?
We built the house down on the ground, right in front of the building, and it's very sturdily built. We had to have it engineered for earthquakes and everything else. So it was very complex, you know, to build it on this tilt, and it feels like somebody might live here. The lights come on at night. We have a smoke machine that will bring smoke out of the chimney.
And you have a garden out front?
And we have a garden outside.
Well, we should go out there and look at the garden.
Sure. Okay. We can have a look at the garden here. Now, do you see the sweet peas over there? Those will be ready pretty soon. Yep. So last spring we had loads of sweet peas out here.
While it doesn't look like it, this garden is a green roof. These plants have to deal with the extremes of rooftop conditions, though the nearby ocean helps keep the air cool and moist.
The house is actually a 3/4 scale model approximately of an actual building. And so the artist asked us to use plants that had small leaves and small flower heads. And to a large extent, we were able to do that. The bricks had to be 3/4 scale as well. So we cut every brick down to be precisely 3/4 the size of a normal paver brick. He also presented a model at the very beginning made out of foam core with very specific ideas about sort of colors and plant arrangement, and to the greatest extent possible we tried to stick to that vision. He wanted the garden to look artless in a way, to really look like an actual person's garden and not a garden that was designed by a landscape architect.
Inside I felt a little disoriented, but outside I actually almost feel okay. This green garden rooftop reminds me that whether I'm 7 stories up or standing on terra firma, as long as I'm in a garden, I'm always at home. Green roofs can be as intimate or as grand as we can imagine. The one thing they all have in common is they take an unused space and they make it into a useful space. Imagine the millions, if not billions, of rooftops around the world. If even half of those were remade into green roofs, we'd have a whole new version of nature. Kind of makes me wonder what we're waiting for. I'm Nan Sterman. Thanks for watching. A growing passion thanks KPBS Television for their ongoing support, along with these generous underwriters.